Hello and welcome to the Gab and Jules show. No Gab Marcotti today. So look who's with me, Don Hutchison. Don, thank you so much. There's a lot to talk about this weekend in the Premier League, especially in all around Europe. Loads of penalties missed.
Amazing penalties
missed. Which is crazy. Initially, let's be honest with the listeners and people who watches the show. We wanted to go with Aston Villa, Manchester United as the main segment.
We couldn't.
You were on Cocoms. But we're like, actually... Let's wait to see what happens in the Brighton Tottenham game. And that was the game of the weekend by far in the Premier League. What was your first reaction to it?
The first reaction was Tottenham were brilliant for 45 minutes and I couldn't see any other scoreline. I thought they'd run away with it 4 or 5. And then Hutchison made a change at half-time. He took off Postecoglou and put Estepinian on at half-time, which made them a little bit more solid, a little bit higher up the pitch to try and attack Tottenham because they were playing through the lines too easy. But what a response in the second half. I mean, I don't think anyone's seen that result coming when Tottenham were winning 2-0 at half-time, but they completely fell apart.
They were so dominant, Spurs. They pressed so well. Solanke, Maddison, it was wave after wave. Brighton could not do much, although Welbeck has a good chance, on that Mitoma cross, first of all. How do you explain, in a way, the change, even in attitude from a Spurs fan? Is it a bit, from a Spurs player, is it a bit of complacency from them? It seemed that they stopped pressing at the start of the second half. Certainly not like they used to Is that Ange saying to the boys, let's control that game now?
No, I don't think Ange has got that. Not from what I've heard from inside the training camp. He's a very front-footed manager. He would have smelt 4 or 5, I think, like any one of us. But I think what changed when they give a goal away, and people talk about plan B, and I understand that, but I look at either the manager or the players on the pitch smelling the game and recognising the game. So if you're playing at right back and you're Pedro Porro, and we've just gone to 2-1, and momentum's gone against us, and you're playing on the right-hand side, Jules, where's the leader saying to Porro, stay there for 5 minutes. Yeah. Stay in a flat back 4. A doggy, you do the same, because we're under it here. And in 5 minutes' time, once we get regain of sort of possession and control again, then you can go and do your things by going inverted. Tottenham can only play one way. Yeah. And when they're good, they're good. But we've seen when Newcastle tore them apart a few times over the years, then when they're bad because you can hurt them because all their fullbacks go inverted, they commit bodies forward, they try and press, they try and score, and they're very, very open. And that's what Brighton exposed in the second half.
I just don't understand the in-game management.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, from the players and the experienced ones, like, I don't know, like a Romero, like a Maddison. Van de Ven even.
Bentancur in midfield.
Yeah.
Stop running around, stand still.
I know. But Ange, I looked at Ange after the first goal, the first Brighton goal. Yeah. No reaction.
No.
After the second goal, no reaction.
No.
The third goal, no reaction. He looked like he was frozen on the touchline.
I think what he is, Jules, he's a manager that likes to leave a little bit to the players. Like, you figure it out, which is commendable. I quite admire that. But when things are going against the 11 that's on the pitch, your job and your responsibility is to see how the game's going. Now, offensively, all the coaches and backroom staff put so much into games going forward because that's a creativity. That's what we love watching. We love watching goals. But defending is an art, and defending comes from the coach, the manager. That's your responsibility. So when you look at how the game's going when they're going forward, yes, that's a part of Ange and his coaching staff, but defensively, that should be quite easy for you to try and fix on the sideline, or you say to the players that we've just mentioned, the Bentancur to stand still for 5 minutes, or the centre-halves like Romero, Van de Ven, by pulling your fullbacks in. Yeah. And then once you go through a 10-minute period and you've kept it at 2-1, if you've lost a goal and you kept it at 2-1, then you go, right, we've got a foothold in the game again. Right, now we can go and press, and now we can go forward and get more goals. They don't. They just absolutely fall apart.
Yeah, I mean, we discuss a bit more Spurs on the Gab and Jules podcast later after, but let's give some love in this first segment to Brighton as well, and Fabian Hutchison, who's a young coach who I think paid to learn at Chelsea the previous weekend, where
all over the place. Yeah,
his old tactics was wrong. And in that first half, I thought, maybe he hasn't learned so much from Chelsea, but he corrected everything at halftime.
He did.
This is a good team with good players. Mitoma is good, Welbeck is good, Baleba is good in midfield. He's a player that we both love a lot. They deserve a lot of credit for how they came back into that game.
Not 100%, because they could have fell apart after the Chelsea result and performance, but he made that change at halftime where he changed the fullback over, which made them a little bit more solid for a period. And then Estepinian's a great player when going forward. He then started playing well. I got Mitoma on the ball, got Welbeck some chances. And I think it was more the momentum. So great from the manager that he must have instilled some team talk at half-time. Because at 2-0 down, that must have been difficult to stand there after the Chelsea result and performance to try and deliver that inspiring team talk to get his players going. But what he's got, because he's only 31, and he's probably got 4 or 5 players that are older than him.
Yeah, definitely.
Danny Welbeck being one of them. And James Milner, obviously, who probably would have said something as well. So he's got a good chunk of experience around him to help him in the team talks and help that environment. But you're right, they deserve a lot of credit for coming back, because they could have folded.
And I was really happy for Rutter, not just because he's one of mine,
goal.
but his goal, he took it well. I thought his whole link-up play, and I'm just not sure still what his best position is as a lone striker, as a second striker, maybe slightly wider. I just think he's got so much talent. And I know it was a lot of money, £40 million. It was his release clause.
Yeah.
Because from what we saw at Leeds, he was never maybe the most convincing or the most consistent either. But I think he showed in that game what an all-around forward he could be and how good he could be in some games.
Do you know what? I was on a train when Leeds played Chelsea in the Cup, and I was on the train going home, so I got my head down, I put my cap down like that. It was full of Leeds fans, and they were chatting about Rutter. And it was an amazing conversation to listen into, because the part of their conversation was they didn't really think he was that good of a player.
Yeah.
But ironically, whenever he played, he made the team better.
Yeah.
So they felt as though he missed loads of chances, and he was a little bit wild, and he was a little bit chaotic. But they thought whenever he played, he sort of linked the play, and the team looked a little bit better and sharp, and he got them up the pitch. So it was fascinating to listen to fans having this conversation about the same player that we're talking about. And now, because he's young, he might be getting them experience. Now he's joined a club that might suit his style, where Leeds over the years has been a little bit fast and a bit chaotic. Now they're a little bit more sort of controlled in their possession, a lot more sort of patient, and that might suit him, because his goal, as you said, when he bounced off a doggy, was amazing finish really on the angle, left foot, bottom corner. Super finish.
Yeah, that was good. We'll talk a bit more about Rutter, Brighton, Spurs, Ange. Show a bit of love to Danny Welbeck as well, because I think he deserves it on the Gab and Jules podcast. Make sure you listen to it as well.